आवाज नहीं आ रही।
या वीणा वरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपत्र
is with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mamata Agarwal ji. Good morning to you all. Namaskar. I think for Dr. Manu Vora, it is late night and still he is with us as passionately as ever and as fresh as ever, in the late evening also. And then Dr. Dinesh Singh and all our faculty members and the leaders of education who are there on this particular platform for the information to be given about new ATAL Academy programs that we are launching. They have already been launched, the portal is available, but some of the nuances of that I would like to mention in hindsight. You must remember that this ATAL Academy itself started 3 years ago with the purpose of training of faculty in the emerging areas of technology, be it AI, IoT, machine learning, deep learning, robotics, 3D printing, blockchain, augmented reality, virtual reality, and many others. In every discipline of engineering, there are certain things which are emerging, and our faculty members who got their education maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago, may not have touch with the new areas of development, because not all will get an opportunity to have research papers in their custody, in their libraries or the journals, as well as not all will have opportunity to do research because they are mainly teaching institutions. And that's why when they fall behind, they will not be able to communicate to the students the latest things that are happening in the world around, and therefore the question of employability of students, whether it is in terms of higher education of students or some of them becoming entrepreneurs, making use of the modern new age technologies, will have a lot of difficulties. And that's why we decided to launch what is known as ATAL Academy. And they were all 1 week long programs which were undergoing in terms of first physical space in a environment of the college or a university where these programs were held. But because of COVID pandemic, we had to transform them into all online ones. And there was one advantage and one disadvantage. The disadvantage is you are not meeting with each other and you are only seeing each other on the screen, attention span, many other issues will come up. That is the disadvantage. The advantage was we had large number of experts drawn from as far as West USA or North America, which we call, or the Canada, to Europe, to far east of Australia, Japan, Singapore. Faculty who are experts or industry people who are experts were joining in this program to give the lectures. I can imagine the width of knowledge that we were able to share with our faculty members in terms of these programs. And that's how consecutively for 2 years, we received the world record for what we call for faculty development, faculty training consecutively from UK organization. And thanks to Mamata Agarwal, who drove this very efficiently and effectively. But while we were doing all of this, as I said, some disadvantages were there. We were going through all the feedbacks which we were receiving from different stakeholders, as well as some of the experts who were joining into those programs. And based on that, there was a need felt that mere theoretical knowledge will not be good enough, and there must be hands-on experience to be given also to the faculty members. And during Corona, anyway, it was not possible because the physical activities were all restricted. But when we saw that the second, third wave were all subsided and there is no more COVID effect continuing, at least in India, fortunately, we are lucky that we have taken care of this crisis very well in our country. Then we felt we must change the modality of this entire ATAL program. More details you will listen from both Dr. Manu Vora as well as Mamata Agarwal later. But I will tell in gist that there were two challenges. We needed to increase the length of the program from 1 week to 2 weeks. But even for 1 week, giving leave by the colleges was finding it great difficulty because many of these institutions have shortage of faculty. Then what will happen to the students' classes? So many issues were coming up, but they will barely manage at most 1 week. But if you have to expand to 2 weeks, how do we manage? We decided that we will have a different format altogether, and thanks to innovation that Dr. Manu Vora and the entire team, we have Dr. Dhande, many others who pitched in, gave their insights, inputs, and we said the whole day faculty will be in the college, fine. In the evening, they are free. At least 1 week they will spare in the evening for learning theoretical aspects of it. And even beyond theoretical aspect, each one of the faculty members would be given some research paper, some PDF file, ask them to read, and then come prepared. And then there will be some interactions, some inputs given in the form of theoretical background, formulation, etc. Only about 2.5 hours in the evening. That is from 7 o'clock to 9:30, 2.5 hours every day for 1 week. So that instead of spending one full week during the day, which they can use as per their requirements of the college and the university, let them spare 1 week evening. Maybe they will cut short their enjoyment going with family for a hotel or some film or something. But this sacrifice is very, very important from the part of the academic community because they are interested in learning. That passion is important. So 2.5 hours per day for about 1 week, not a great deal. And that is what we expect from all the faculty members. Subsequently, we will have 1 full week in-house in a college environment where there are laboratories, where there are faculty who will come in and tell whatever you learned in theory or what research you have read, how it is actually applied in practice. And that is very, very important because many a times industry bodies like FICCI, CII, NASCOM, their complaint is students many times are capable of deriving a formula, mugging it up and writing in examination, scoring high marks. Many of us have rank holders, we all know, and scored very high marks. But when we were asked, where do you use it? How do you use it? Why do you use it? I think we all were blank in our times and even today's times. And therefore, many a times, whatever knowledge we get it from out of internet, from MOOC courses, from theoretical exercise of reading books is always limited, and we need to expand that in terms of real applications. And the real applications are real life applications. And therefore, people from industry, even academia who have worked in those areas of research and created new products, patents, if such faculty come and deliver those lectures for those 1 week, asking you to all start thinking, we want to make our students critical thinkers. We want them to become analytical ability oriented students. And we want them to be innovative. We want them to be creative. But if we want students to be critical thinkers, innovative, creative, as well as analytical in their approach, very methodical, our teachers must have all those characteristics in themselves. Only then they can communicate it effectively to their students. And this 1 week, which is face-to-face physical mode, which we often call offline. It is not offline, it is fully online. In fact, our Prime Minister recently, during the lecture that he gave for Pariksha Pe Charcha, very beautifully said inline. It is actually inline. It has to go inside our body, mind, and brain, and then only we will be able to effectively take it forward to our students. And so this 1 week is going to be very, very valuable. You will understand every nuance of that particular subject and how it is applied, where it is applied, and fully geared up, charged up. When you go back with confidence in your classrooms, I think students will enjoy as much as you would have enjoyed during that 1 week. We have another very interesting program, although it is not directly related. I would like to mention that we have started what is known as Idea Labs. Institutions who are ready to get industry support of 55 lakh. A matching grant of 55 lakh is given by AICTE. Last year, we have given it to 50 institutions. Our target was 100. We could only give to 50. This year, we will give the remaining 50. And next year, again, we will give another 100. So we want every institution to be equipped with equipment where students will be able to practice 24/7 whenever a new idea comes in their mind. There should be no restriction that the room is locked, laboratory is locked. This is accessible to students anytime, day, night, evening, holiday, festival day, because you get some idea at some moment. They are eureka moments, and those are not to be lost. Immediately, one can go to the laboratory workshop and then try to design, solve that issue. And then the excitement that you get it immediately is having no bounds. Whereas if you say that laboratory is closed Friday because of holiday, Saturday, Sunday is holiday, Monday, Shivratri, no, Tuesday you come to the laboratory, they will all lose their interest. So this is an idea lab, which is a very prominent one. And to train teachers to use this effectively, we have conducted workshops. And I have seen teachers, about 40 of them at one workshop, who go into that laboratory in the morning. And like young students, they don't leave the laboratory workshop till late night, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. We will have to say, thoda to so jao beta, bolna pad raha hai. Teachers ko. And these teachers are aged from 40, 50, some of them near 55 also. The kind of enthusiasm when we see when it is hands-on is so refreshing for everyone who watches them. And therefore, this next 1 week of ATAL Academy is going to be marvelous for all of you to enjoy and take it forward. And I'm really very, very excited that we are starting with this program today. And I think Dr. Manu Vora, with his great experience all across the world, will also tell about how they have developed this, why they developed this. And my sincere thanks and gratitude to him and the entire team for putting in an excellent, new version of ATAL Academy. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir, for so beautifully summarizing entire ATAL Academy and speaking from your experience as to what would change in new version of ATAL Academy. Thank you so much, sir. And you have shared all your experiences. And the fact is that, most of the best research and innovations are a result of serendipity. That moment when something, really that eureka moment. So thank you so much, sir. We keep looking forward to your guidance, your support, which always comes in bounds. We don't even have to ask for it. We are privileged, and AICTE is privileged to have a progressive and a dynamic leader like you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Now, I would request my colleague Piyush to kindly share the slides, sir. I will take on from here, and we will be explaining everything in detail, sir. So, all the dignitaries in this digital platform, Dr. Vora, our Honorable Chairman, who is with us, and all the dear coordinators, faculty members. Firstly, I want to tell you that, how and what has been changed in ATAL FDPs from last year to this year. See, the objective is to disseminate knowledge in emerging thrust areas. Last year also, this year we have expanded from emerging thrust areas to you may also include some of your core areas, core domains, where you actually may decide to conduct FDPs with absolutely necessary, well integrated, hands-on practicals on that. So now the application of knowledge in emerging thrust area has also been combined with other important skills, as the chairman was saying, that critical thinking, team building exercises, organizing various things, hands-on experience, project management, stress management, time management, everything has been interwoven with already existing format of ATAL FDPs. Of course, as sir was telling and all of you are aware of, with the support of ATAL team and all of you we have received, ATAL Academy has received many awards in the last year. We have received the World Book of Records, Asia Book of Records, and India Book of Records for an outstanding contribution to faculty development. But this time, more than the numbers, more than that, how many FDPs are we conducting? What our focus is on the depth. Our focus is how deeply are you learning? What is the depth of your learning experience through this faculty development programs? Of course, basic and applied this time, along with the basic and applied domains, emerging areas, thrust areas. Another FDP which has been planned, it is a leadership FDP, and this FDP is for institutional building. You all know that online has given us a very distinctive advantage where what we call is death of distance. Here, that distance did not matter. So earlier we actually had 200 participants. Now the number of participants would be 50 for better integration, for better interaction, and for a small, focused, personalized learning. Another thing is that now, because second week is hands-on and second week is absolutely training oriented, where all the participants have to actually work in labs. So we have made a restriction of 100 kilometers. But just to tell you, this 100 kilometer is not really a hard and fast rule. It is for that the candidates, the participants in the second week are able to commute from their place of residence to the host institute. So it can be 120 kilometers. In NCR, you will even find people coming from 150 kilometers or 140 kilometers. I can't see.
Mamtaji was saying 1 week to 2 weeks. The learning mode is team-based. So we want to make this ATAL FDPs collaborative, experiential, and outcome-based. So that is the real focus. So delivery will include lectures, the case studies, and in cases where they have an opportunity to conduct projects, and particularly they will have charter done for the project on a team basis and discuss in depth. And I'll expand on it a little bit later. The assessment part has changed. Previously, it was just attendance and MCQs. This time it's a continuous comprehensive assessment, which will have additional items like reading articles and cases, doing the summary discussion, then a reflection journal. What did you learn out of the FDP and what will you implement when you are back at the institute? We are opening up in terms of the coordinator. There will be one key coordinator and the co-coordinator. Attendee registration, it will be by nomination by the department head or a dean, because previously out of 200 people registering, about 50 to 100 of them never attended those sessions. So this time, limited attendance, but nominated by the department head or the dean. And performance monitoring of those FDP will continue same way happened in the 21-22. Expert peer reviewers will come in, review the FDP and provide their guidance. And we plan to have a long-term effectiveness after 1 year completion of these revised FDPs, survey the deans and department heads to see is there any performance improvement of the faculty who attended these programs.
I can see now, sir. So in case you want
you
to
can take over. You can take over, Mamtaji.
As sir has said, there will be individual FDP assessment by the peer reviews. We are also trying to see if we can also have a pre and post learning curves, and then, a comparative assessment of those learning curves can also be brought in. But as of now, expert peer review would be there for individual FDPs. And after that, once we complete 1 year, a deep survey across the length and breadth of the country would be carried out for all the conducted FDPs to ensure that what has been the performance enhancement for all the FDP attendees, the faculty members who have attended. Now I would cover what is the eligibility criteria, who all can apply. So host institute, that is the institute that will be conducting ATAL FDPs. It is institutes of national importance like all IITs, all IIMs, NITs, triple ITs, institutes of eminence, institutes of national importance, ISHRs, NIPERs, all of those are allowed. Along with that, universities, be it central university, state university, deemed to be universities, and even private universities where they have NIRF ranking up to 200 or NAC grade A++, or the department, the specific department that is conducting the faculty development program, it has full NBA accreditation. Industry partners or training institutions with experience in specific training or relevant faculty development training, if they are there and they have been carrying out such trainings for at least past 5 years, they are also allowed. Institutes which have rating of 4 and 5 from last year, that is previous academic year 21-22, through ATAL Academy FDP's peer reviewers, they may be given preference or they may be given a little weightage while assessing these proposals that we will receive for faculty development programs. Coordinators, as of now, coordinators should be either a professor or an associate professor with 10 years of teaching learning experience, whereas co-coordinator may be either associate professor or assistant professor with 5 years of teaching learning experience. In this specific one, we have received few requests that if an associate, in place of an associate professor, even an assistant professor may with 10 years of service or 15 years of service may also be allowed to be a coordinator, that we need to deliberate in-house and we need to seek approval, and subsequently only we'll get back to you. But as of now, the conditions are these. Preferable prior experience of organizing ATAL Academy's FDP. And of course, we will also look at that how many FDPs were conducted, what was the rating of those FDPs, how all the participating faculty members have rated those FDPs. Then that whatever field, whatever specific topic, domain, subject you want to conduct the FDP, if that institution as well as the coordinator has expertise in that emerging area, in that has he published any research papers, written books, attended and organized conferences and workshops in last 5 years, those would also be looked into. At least 10 publications in reputed journals. Preference will be given to faculty members who have completed research project in the specific respective field in which they are desirous of conducting the FDPs. Now, if have they received any national, international awards, honors in last 5 years, either in teaching excellence, in academic or applied research, any institutional leadership management, community or public service, any specific outreach contribution, and COVID presented to all of us ample opportunities to do our bit and, any kind of that outreach contributions. But this is a desirable attribute which we are looking for. It is not a mandatory thing. So an application, a proposal for FDP will be looked into very holistically. And of course, nomination by the dean, head of the department or director of the institution is a must. So that head of the department is aware that the institution, the department is applying for this kind of FDP, and these are the people who are associated with conduct of faculty development program. It goes without saying that for this success of ATAL FDPs and their effectiveness and the quality is dependent on the resource persons whom you engage for conduct of these FDPs. And last year, because of online, we actually had number of more than 6,500 experts were from the industry, from some of the best CSIR labs, from DST labs, and real good researcher. So we would expect you to bring in eminent people from academia, from industry, your own alumni, and who should have an excellent academic track record of making important, significant contribution in the area. We would come back to you with little changes. It's not necessarily an emerging area. It can even be your domain or your specific subject area. And they should, other than the track record of significant contribution in the area in which you want to conduct FDP, they should have published research paper, they may have written a book, they may have published various papers in this specific area. 10 years of active involvement in the area of FDP. Of course, outstanding teaching, research, training, industry, collaborations, contributions, any patenting, and maximum 20% can be from the host institute. Attendees, this time on, attendees need to be, that is the faculty members need to be nominated by the institution, organization leaders. It can be head of the department, it can be dean, for better attendance. And attendance is very, very important. 80% attendance is mandatory. And in attendance is forming an integral part of your assessment, your evaluation. There would be quizzes, surprise questions, so that, your attention span during the online training in the first week remains. And we are also able to judge that all of you are attending these FDPs seriously. We have taken feedback through Google Form, and on the basis of your recommendations, on the basis of the feedback we received from all of you, the timing has been kept from 7 to 9:30. And again, after every session, there is a 10 minutes break. So 7 to 7:50, 10 minutes break, 8 to 8:50, 10 minutes break, and then 9 to 9:30 is the interactive session or question answer session. Industry and research institute attendees or people who are working with the research institute, with the related industry would also be encouraged. Prior successful completion of ATAL FDP and more so for advanced ATAL FDP would be preferred. And you can sign up. A faculty member can maximum attend and can sign up for 2 basic and 2 advanced FDPs for 1 academic year or in a specific academic year. Not more than 10% faculty members or attendees are allowed from the host institute. Next, Annexure 3. With the help and guidance of Dr. Bora, we have prepared a absolutely hands-on, and it would really facilitate your working. And this checklist is so exhaustive that I don't think you really need to look beyond these checklists. And it covers pre-FDP, during FDP, post-FDP, each and every phase of FDP as to what all you really need to cover, what all you need to check. And along with date, you can have your own checklist ready. So pre-FDP is the only requirement which you need to complete before applying for ATAL FDP. So quickly, everything is written. You may go through yourself, but review ATAL FDP thrust area, concept document with the type of FDP you want to do, basic, advanced, or leadership one. Again, scheme document also has FAQs, frequently asked questions, very detailedly designed for coordinators as well as for participants. You may go through those question answers. Should you have any doubt or any confusion about any aspect of the document, select FDP topic in alignment with your area of expertise and experience. Develop a proposal from your FDP topic, highlighting what are the objectives, with which objective these FDPs are conducted. List of lessons, target audience, possible dates, because you would require 2 consecutive weeks. The first week is for an online mode, that is Monday to Saturday, 7 to 9:30, and second week is in a face-to-face mode, and minimum 33 hours are required. All your ATAL FDPs are eligible for career advancement scheme of teacher progression. Identify required number of reputed journal articles for your FDP. For basic FDP, we require 2 articles. For advanced, we require 3 to 4 articles. For leadership FDP, again 3 to 4 articles. I want to take a minute and tell you that these articles should be from reputed journals, and we leave it to the coordinator's judgment. Secondly, these articles should be relevant, should be in sync with the topic of the FDP. So suppose you are doing FDP on electric vehicle, it should be related to electric vehicle. If you are doing one FDP in leadership for change management in academia, then the article should be in line with the change management in academia topic. Of course, you need to identify potential resource person with their expertise, their experience from academia, industry, and alumni. Now, for that second week of practical experience activity, it is important that you either tie up with the neighboring or close by industry or institute of eminence. It can be a CSIR lab, it can be a DST lab, it can be those multidisciplinary good central universities. It can even be some of the MSME centers, incubation centers, startups, wherever you want that the people coming from academia should understand that what is happening in industry, which is related to their own topic, which is related to their own area of teaching. So giving them field knowledge, giving them an absolute understanding of what is happening in incubation center, what kind of startups are coming in their domain, how different disciplines can be merged together for starting off an incubation center are some of the salient features and are very important, but would require certain amount of planning. You may tell us 15 days in advance as to which industry or which incubation center or MSME center you would be visiting. So one consent letter from the industry or NOC or anything, MOU, can be provided as a documentary proof that it would be done. Now, in our lesson planning, and we have a very detailed lesson planner for week 1 and week 2. In week 2, we have kept it for on day 1, that is first day of week 2. However, if there is a need and if the industry is asking you to come on a specific day, that interchangeability is allowed and that autonomy to interchange is with the coordinator himself. Another one is that FDP learning management platform needs to be decided and communicated. If you have certain material that you want to circulate, that is a self-study material, that also needs to be circulated among all your participants. Then before the FDP, you need to also inform all your institute leaders. You need to also take their approval, because that would also be needed while granting approval for the selected FDP. Next one, if you scroll up, Piyush. FDP approval and prior to delivery. Confirm identified resource persons from academia, industry, and alumni. Collect resource persons, abstract, bio, photograph, bank information. Develop FDP brochure and poster, including specific sessions. Topic assigned to resource person, including their photographs. Collect presentation file from all resource person 1 week in advance of FDP start date. Now, why are we focusing on this? It has been our experience, and many people have been telling us that the person who was assigned and the resource person did not turn up, or he cancelled the session just a week in advance. So just to do away with those kind of eventuality, we suggest that you request the resource person to submit at least his slides, his presentation, if he has some learning material, at least a week in advance, so that you are prepared for an eventuality. And in case the resource person does not turn up, then at least you can share those slides, or I would also request you, if some of the resource persons can also be requested that, that along with the normal sessions which they have been conducting, if they have time, you can prepare a kind of a reserve for such eventualities. Because many a times we requested people and, the candidates came back to us and told us that specific resource person, though it is mentioned in the brochure, was not available for conduct of FDPs. Create FDPs joining the platform which you have decided. Submit FDP brochure and poster into ATAL portal. Everything is automated. You need to update the ATAL portal about your FDP. Of course, more than 50 candidates may apply. So again, it is the discretion of the coordinator and co-coordinator. So looking at their credentials, or maybe whatever way you want to do it, you need to select those 50 attendees for FDPs. Again, I have written in FAQs, if any one of you have gone through, that we recommend that you prepare a waiting list of the faculty members. So in case some of the faculty members drop out at the last moment, you can allow or you can grant approval to the faculty members who are in waiting list that they can join these FDPs. So final list of approved attendees need to be taken care before FDP approval. Create teams. This for the basic, we are expecting a multidisciplinary team where one member can be from mechanical, one from civil, one from electrical, one from metallurgy. So that a multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary approach to understand, learn from peers, and that peer learning through different disciplines, that multidisciplinary approach is ingrained in these learnings, in these FDPs. Then distribute your articles, whatever articles you have decided, that 2 articles for basic and 3 to 4 for advanced and leadership. Those articles, their links need to be shared with those people. And it would be good if you can also explain to them that, there is a reflection journal that of course is in the last, but there is an article, this general article summary, which needs to be prepared after reading and debate and deliberations on these articles. It needs to be prepared by the faculty members. Scroll up, Piyush, during FDP. At each session, of course, I would not go into details. You can read it, and there would be an expert peer reviewer for every FDP. Kindly allow access to him and introduce, acknowledge his presence. You need to monitor the sessions for attendance, engagement with productive sessions. Encourage inclusiveness, encourage curiosity, ask people to more and more questions. It would also, have a much better learning among faculty members. At least in the end of each session, if we can have something to ponder over or a recap of all the learnings. Of course, you can always present a virtual memento and a kind of appreciation certificate to your resource personnel, as well as to the expert who is peer reviewing your FDPs. Attendance and feedback is a mandatory part, and without which certificate would not be generated. So kindly make sure that attendance and feedback are properly captured on ATAL portal. Post FDP, all these FDP, all the documents which are related to FDP, we have given a specific timeline, and you can go through the scheme document one more time. But if everything is done within 2 weeks, it is the timeline which has been decided. Complete assessment of all attendees as per FDP framework, concept document. We have a very detailed, meticulously planned assessment pattern with Professor Bora would be covering it. And those certificates, completion certificates to attendees who successfully complete, those will be done once you feed all the data within 2 working days by the ATAL Academy. Create a summary of documents highlighting the FDP major learnings, key points from reflection journal, passing rate, presentation files, session recordings within 4 weeks. Upload your summary document in ATAL portal by the 4th week of FDP completion. As I have already told you that for the this thing that while at the time of applying, only the first one, that pre-FDP, is needed. Kindly go through all the FAQs which are available on our portal separately for coordinators as well as for faculty members. And I shall take all the questions should you have one once this presentation is over. So now I would request Professor Manu Vora to focus on other aspect, that is assessment and Annexure 4 and Annexure 5. Professor Vora is a very well-known academic leader. He is chairman and president Business Excellence in United States since 2000. He has more than 45 years, that is 47 years of leadership experience. He has guided Fortune 500 companies. 29 years he has been as adjunct faculty globally in operations management, contributed at 680 educational institutions worldwide, delivered more than 1,220 presentations and lectures. Professor Vora is a business leader of excellence in every facet, and his commitment and his specific commitment to Atal Academy and revision of Atal Academy has been truly marvelous. Sir, this document would have not been this document without your valuable guidance and your contribution. Thank you so much, sir. So may I request you to kindly take it over?
Sure. Piyushji, can you stop sharing? I have my slide deck. I'll bring it up. Okay, thank you very much. Allow me to share my presentation, please.
So you may.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. And I'm going to give you some highlight of the redesigned FDP and why the changes were made. So first of all, what's the purpose? Then we will talk a little bit about the importance of planning while you are designing the FDP, delivering the FDP. The planning is extremely critical. So we will quickly look at Dr. Deming's cycle. And the basic idea is we want to improve the teaching learning effectiveness, and all the FDPs which will be delivered will be collaborative, team focus and cooperation among members who are attending, experiential case study, article reviews, and in cases of advance and leadership, there will be some projects assignment, and it's outcome based. There will be a reflection journal, and I'll briefly share the template on that as well. Now, all these things is possible once we begin to learn how to engage the students, learners, the faculty in the first place. And how do we achieve the excellence for the faculty? So I'll share some high-level models. FDP assessments, I'll go into quick review of all three types of FDPs, basic, advanced, and leadership. We'll quickly review some typical flow for all those three types of FDP, week 1, week 2, and some recommendations. So the purpose is to improve teaching learning process for an effective implementation of NEP 2020. And we have a clear path until 2035 by which we need to successfully implement national education policy at all educational institute, K through 12, all HEIs, and it has to be done systematically in a structured way. So let's talk a little bit about Dr. Deming's cycle. Dr. Deming was one of the scientists sent by US government to Japan after World War II to rebuild the industrial economy. And Dr. Deming and Dr. Juran taught Japanese how to do quality improvement, process management, etc. Japanese learned it well, and they produce finest electronics and automobiles of the world. And so Dr. Deming's cycle has a 4-component: plan, do, study, and act. So the guidance is we need to have a 10% excellent plan and then 90% flawless execution. And this applies to all the Atal FDPs you are going to be planning and executing and delivering. And keep in mind that planning without execution is futile, but the execution without planning could be fatal. And brief comment at India scene, we need to do better with the planning. teaching learning effectiveness. The model I've been using because I started in the academics after about 18 years of industry experience, and I saw that in the industry, success comes from the teamwork. So my goal was to simulate in my classes teamwork as a prerequisite for all the classes. So the collaborative is in the classes, there are teams formed and they are required to be cooperating within the team, across the team, sharing. Experiential, they read articles, and particularly here, 8 to 10 week semester program, they read 7 to 8 articles and they work on a live project during the semester. And it's outcome based. There is a reflection journal, and I'll share the template, which are the annexure 4 and 5, and big focus on implementing the knowledge you have learned from the program. So here is the FDP article, annexure 4. What happens is we read a lot of things, but at the end of the day, things get mixed up and we don't have much retention. In order for us to have a better retention, we are going to have special journal articles, 2 for basic, 3 to 4 for advanced, and 3 to 4 articles for the leadership FDPs. And when the teams are formed, about 5 to 6 members per team, they collectively discuss, read, and summarize on a 2-page the summary of the article they have digested by showing key principles and practices collectively for the team, 3 to 4 bullet. Application of principles and practices in their function. This is where individually they will write stuff with their name. How do they bridge the theory with the practice? And this is where the major part of the summary focus is, 70% weightage, and 3 to 4 key takeaways per team in the end. Now, by doing this, it will require a lot of introspection and reflection by the members of the team. It will bring in more team interactions, peer learning, and it will enhance their knowledge and better retention. Reflection journal is annexure 5 in the scheme document. So what we want is at the end of the FDP, on the last day, they need to fill out a 1-page template in the bullet form, 3 questions, identify 3 key learnings or the outcomes from the FDP, 3 key lessons or the concepts that they will implement going back to the institute or the workplace, and what's the implementation plan for those 3 key lessons. Now, what this particular reflection journal does is allows you to take a stock of what you have learned and what you are getting out of it and what will you implement. Extremely important concept. And I've been very fortunate to deploy both these templates for the last 29 years. And it has been very, very helpful to my students. And they, at the end of the classes, they say we learned the most by going through the article summary and learning the best practices from the state-of-the-art articles. So very important to focus on that. Very briefly on the learners' engagement. So when we are teaching something, our goal is to involve the learner in their own learning. And when they learn, they need to apply it right there in the classroom and able to share it with others who are there for peer interaction. So peer learning and class interactions are the big part of this FDP program. There is an interesting way to look at the 12 keys to the kingdom for learners' engagement. So at the beginning of the program, you can assign few people to do research on the topic and ask them to share their views for a few minutes. And as a resource person, their goal should be to show the importance of the topic and real-world application, which will excite the people who are there in the FDP as attendees, and have some topical question, more like an icebreaker at the beginning of the session, and keep rotating people who are in attendance. And at the end of the session, during interaction time, at least get 1 key takeaway from the session by everyone in attendance. Harvard Business Publishing showed several items which I have borrowed from 6 to 9. You can conduct some short polls or voting, arrange some role plays in the second week, small groups to discuss and report back in the FDP program. If you are having a project, assign the team a simple project which they can deliberate and put together their project charter. And you can bring some guest speakers to expand the perspective. Now, very important for the faculty, as a resource person, share the concepts and principles so there is no need for memorization. And we need to get away from the mentality we have for the last 100 years, memorization and vomiting. There is a very zero retention of the concepts or the knowledge. Allow curiosity and innovativeness in the classroom, and a sincere request. We all as a faculty need to replenish our knowledge so we are at a cutting edge, and then we are ready to give cutting edge information to our students. And if we do all these 12 things, we get a gold star. So the focus of the 22-23 FDP is that the faculty needs to learn in a team or collaborative fashion under the scientific guidance of the eminent resource person by doing lots of introspection and reflection. And we have created quite a few pro forma which will be useful for you to deliver and distribute it to the attendees. And again, big focus on peer learning, class interaction. So we need to leverage that. Few quick items about building the excellence in the faculty, average versus gifted teachers. So the average teacher will explain the complexity, but the gifted teacher reveals the simplicity. So our goal as a faculty should be to take the most complex subject and bring it down to the level where each and every person in the classroom is able to grasp and make use of the information you are sharing. Of course, we know in Sanskrit there are many forms of teacher. We begin as an adhyapak, sharing just the information. When we add knowledge to it, we become upadhyay. We get a promotion to become acharya when we start sharing skills. When we share the insight, we become the pandit. When we provide visionary thinking, we become drishta. And ultimately in life, our role should be to share the wisdom, then we get the promotion to guru. And that should be the ultimate towards the end of our career, to become the guru in our chosen subject. And always remember, the faculties need to educate students by engaging, energizing, entertaining, and empowering them. Use each and every modality, each and every lever as appropriate so that students are learning and engaged. So if I sum it up, the role of a faculty is to excite the learners, the students in the classroom. In this case, it will be the faculties, by showing them the importance and real-world applications of the topics. Engage them by creating small groups and project teams. Empower them by providing state-of-the-art resources. And ultimately challenge them to find their own solutions. As a faculty, we should not be giving out solutions. Our role is to excite, engage, and empower. Once we have done that well, step back and challenge them to find their own solutions. Now we'll specifically cover the assessment aspect. So for the basic FDPs, and all these assessments are continuous comprehensive assessment. Overall 70% passing to receive a certificate. If the attendee gets 90% and above, they get a certificate with distinction, which will essentially set them apart from the rest of the people who are attending. Attendance as covered by Dr. Mamta Rani ji, 10% individual basis, but minimum 80% required. And the whole idea is, unless they attend, they are not going to gain new knowledge. So attendance is critical and mandatory. Then there will be 2 assessments in the basic FDP, one every week. 20% weightage on an individual basis, MCQs. We covered the Annexure 4, which is 2-page article summary per team that will carry 30% weight. Teaching practice will carry 15% individually. Report and outcome of the industrial visit, I'll show you the template for it, 10%, and it will be per team at the last session on the week 2, and the reflection journal on the last session on week 2, Annexure 5, 15% weightage. So we are going away from the multiple choice question as the sole criteria along with the attendance in the previous FDP to have multiple ways of assessing the progress made by the faculty who are attending the program. So here is a simple template for writing up the industry or institute visit. The report will be done one per team, and they will be sharing their findings at the last session so they can learn from each other different perspective, because everyone will have a different views of what they have seen. Advance and leadership FDP assessment is essentially the same 5 components. Attendance as usual. Then there will be big focus on participation, individual level. We talked about article summary and reflection journal, Annexure 4 and 5. And the last item for the assessment for these 2 type of FDPs are project or MCQs. If they do decide to do a project, we'll be providing them a project charter template, and those templates will be created by a team with the deliberation, and then those charters will be shared on the last day to learn different aspects of the project they've planned, and they can take it forward once they are back at the institute. Or if they decide to do MCQs, that's an option. Now, when you are forming a team of 5 to 6 members, it's very important to assign the member roles. One will become project leader, keeping project on track, project communicator, communicating the progress with the project sponsor, project researcher, 1 or 2, conduct necessary research for the topic, and 2 editors, 1 for the report and 1 to create the slide deck, getting team members' input. Now, this is very important thing, so I'll spend 30 seconds extra on it. So metaphor is, if you want to construct a building, what do? You go to an architect. Architect will draw up a blueprint, and with that blueprint is a roadmap to construct the building. Same way, if you want to do a project, you must have a project charter, which is a blueprint to plan and take actions. It will allow you to have a fact-based decision making. It will identify all the stakeholders who are impacted by the project, focus on creating project vision and mission. It will require objectives, deliverables, and milestones spelled out in detail. It will identify and prioritize risk for the project. And risk is important because project means something unknown, you are doing it. You have never done that specific thing before. Hence, risk is inherent part of the project. And it's very important to identify the risk which can derail your project. And communication strategy is put together. And there'll be a sign off on the charter which will freeze the scope of the project. Now, there is a 2-page simple template which will be shared by the coordinators with all the attendees, and they will deliberate on it in a team setting and put together a project charter. And I can tell you from my experience, talking to students, research scholars, and faculties, most of them have never heard about project charter or never used one, and always insist on a project charter for the success of every project. So without project charter, you are on your own. You are just moving around without any guidance. Very briefly, I'll cover the quick, a typical flow on the basic FDP, as Dr. Mamta Raniji mentioned. day 1 through day 6, Monday through Saturday. Sessions are between 7 to 9:30 p.m. 50-minute session, 10 minutes break. And after the two sessions, session 1, 2, and so one session with the three components, and there will be interaction between 9 to 9:30. So 7 to 7:50, one part, 10 minutes break, 8 to 8:50, second part of session 1. And then last half an hour will be the interaction. What did we learn? And get the consolidation and recap of the session. So that thing will repeat. And then the day 6, there'll be learning recap with the MCQ for the week 1 on the last half hour. Second week offline for the basic, 9 to 5. Coordinator can adjust the time for the industrial visit. We have proposed it on day 1, but depending on your convenience and convenience of the industry or the institute visit, you can change it into any one of the days, preferably between day 1 to day 4. And we are going to expand on this teaching practice component by taking some time out from session 9, 11, and 13. Those will become 2 to 4, and then 4 to 5 teaching practice on day 2, 3, and 4. So there'll be some minor refinement. And on the day 5 is extremely important. That visit report, the template I shared, will be presented in the classroom during the FDP, so we can learn. They can learn from each other's perspective. Reflection journal, they will be writing it down and talking it aloud. And they will need to fill in the feedback in the ATAL portal. So we have allowed some time to do it in real time. And then there will be a valedictory session. So at least there is a typical flow shown, but the coordinator has a lot of discretion to make the adjustment as needed, with the caveat that they need to have 33 hours of actual coverage during week 2. Advanced and leadership FDPs flow is exactly same. Offline, essentially the changes will be the article discussion, and also on the last day, project charter will be discussed. And if you are doing a project, then each team will have a chance to present their project charter. If you are not doing a project, in that case, you can request the people who are in the FDP attendees, as well as the coordinator and co-coordinator, to bring in some charter samples from the projects they have done. So there could be some meaningful discussion and learning from each other. Then if you are doing MCQs, there is a time for it. If they are not doing MCQs, it will allow you to have further interactions, build the camaraderie, build the teamwork. So after FDP, they can continue their collaborations. Same thing, reflection journal in the afternoon, feedback and valedictory. So typical flow will give you some guidance how to carry it out. And I'm going to end it with this last slide, the guidance and for the FDP's recommendation. So keep in mind, overarching objective is we want to have effective implementation of NEP 2020 by improving teaching learning process. And all the FDPs you will be designing, there should be big focus on knowledge retention and implementation. Bring the eminent resource person drawing upon from academia, alumni, and industry. Ensure that all the attendees in the FDPs are fully engaged and they are learning and sharing. Focus on peer learning through classroom interactions, and keep in mind the components of delivery of value education. Honesty, integrity, ethics, etc., those components. And there is a specific sessions about the Indian education value system, etc. So you can read in the scheme document. Continuous comprehensive assessment guidance should be followed, and you need to be very clear about it with the attendees. articles to be assigned to the teams from the beginning and discussion of the team summary so that they can learn from each other. Reflection journal we covered, which focuses on implementation and big focus on implementation and achieving the results. Also keep propagating good practices, what they are seeing at their own institute, and allow them to share it so that more collaboration can happen. Exchange of ideas are encouraged, and keep the fun going during the 2 weeks program so that they can absorb the new knowledge and empower all your faculties to be at the cutting edge. So when they leave the FDP, they are fully charged and taking that back to their institute. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing, and we are ready for the questions. Back to you, Mamtaji.
Thank you so much, sir. Good afternoon, everyone, and I shall take the questions, whatever are the questions. Any questions you can read out to me, Dineshji.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please raise your questions, please.
Few questions which I have received on my mail, I would like to reply again. One question was that we are a state public university, can we apply? We are a deemed to be university, can we apply? We are an institute of eminence, can we apply? So we have written in detail, and if you have gone through our FAQs, but I would still, for the purpose of clarity one more time, that even if you are a state public funded university, or you are a state private university, or you are deemed to be university or central university, or even a college, institute of eminence, or institute of national importance, all of you can apply. See, there are conditions laid down about NIRF ranking. There are conditions about NAC rating, and then there is also about NBA accreditation. If you fulfill those conditions, then all of you can apply. Other thing was about that I am an assistant professor and can I be a coordinator? As of now, as per the scheme document, only either a professor or an associate professor with 5 years of service can be a coordinator. We are still considering it, and if we feel that we can make some modifications, that will be done. And again, inform to all of you that you can apply as an assistant professor, as a coordinator. These are few of the things. Then people often ask me about reflection journal. Reflection journal is you reflecting upon your learning as to, after attending this FDP, what have I learned? What are my lessons? How will I implement these learnings in my class, in my functioning, and in my institutional functioning? So these are some of the things which I expect reflection journal to cater to. And reflection journal is to be filled after you have finished, after you have completed your FDP. Now, one question which I have received many times, that can I collaborate with a nearby industry, or can I collaborate with the nearby university? Yes, absolutely. We appreciate, we deeply admire your collaborative FDPs, because at the end of the day, learning has to be collaborative, and our national education policy has laid great emphasis on collaborative, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary learning. So you have to do it. One more question is that about your research journals. Now, when you talk about articles in the research journal, those articles have to be selected before the FDP commences. And those articles need to be filled in the application form. Those articles should be relevant to the topic of the FDP and in sync with FDP. You, the coordinator, will be constituting teams, the first and second session. First session on the first day of second week, and even on the first week itself, those articles will be assigned, those articles will be read and subsequently debated and deliberated in the sessions for understanding the learning. what is the maximum number of proposal per institute? You can apply for as many proposals as you want. However, while selecting your proposals on the basis of merit, that which proposal needs to be granted and which proposal can't be granted, maximum 5 proposals would be granted to one institute. This was from Dr. R. Rajkumar. Now, is there any tab to include the details of collaboration in industry? I have to get back to Dinesh ji. Dinesh ji, would you like to answer, because the portal you have worked on? Thank you, Dinesh ji.
Good afternoon, everyone. The question was that there is for the industry collaboration. Yes, you have to upload the consent letter or your MOU or any type of mutual understanding between you, institution, and the industry. You have to upload this document with your application, with your in the registration process.
Another is there a cutoff date for applying? Yes, the cutoff date for applying is 25th of April.
Yes, ma'am. Sharmila, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. MOU format is your mutual cooperation between yourself, your industry, your institution, and the industries. There is no MOU format has been uploaded or has been directed by the AICTE.
So it can be MOU, it can be a consent letter, it can be actually NOC from the industry. And, I mean, industry can come forward and say that we would like to do this. So we have not really devised any format, as my director was telling you. So you may devise, but it should be very clear to us that 2 components, that is maybe 2 departments of the same institution, or maybe 1 department of one university and 1 department of other university or college, not necessarily university. It can be college to college, university to college, and then university to university, and department to department. So as long as, they submit a consent letter, they may even write that in the remarks that they are doing it in collaboration with industry or in collaboration with department. So we accept those things. Any other question? Dinesh ji, do we have a remarks column there?
Yes, ma'am. It's there, ma'am.
Okay. So in remarks column, any specific information which is not covered in our drop-down menus and our menu of the portal, kindly write that down. We will be considering that. There is a question that can an assistant professor with 20 years of teaching experience be a coordinator? We are considering it and we'll get back to it, Malti ji. Yes, tentative date, you should be giving us the tentative date so that we know as to when your FDP is commencing. Now, Anand, unable to see any workshop to apply after selecting workshop tab. You have to decide what workshop you want to conduct. We are not giving you any drop-down menu there. So you have to decide when do you want to conduct your FDP or your workshop, whatever you are saying. So you are the coordinators. As coordinators, you have to apply for these faculty development programs. Can regular faculty apply? Regular, contractual, ad hoc, as long as the dean or head of the departments or your head of the institution allows you to apply. We don't have a problem. What is your type of engagement with the institution?
Another question. There's one question from Dr. Manohar. He is asking whether the industrial visit can be converted into a technical session. No, it cannot be converted, but as it is your convenient, within the 5 days, any day you can, with the mutual consent with the industry, you can visit the industry, but it cannot be converted into a technical session.
Yes, industrial visit, and industry, we have expanded it. You can go to a multidisciplinary university, you can go to a MSME center, an institute of national importance, an institute of eminence, you can go to CSIR lab, you can go to DST lab, you can go to some of the incubation centers, startup centers, You can go to technology parks where the learning is specific. You can go to industries. We will also try to help you out as much as we can in case we do, but industry visit is mandatory. Similarly, articles in the research journal, they are mandatory.
Yes, there is one question from Madam Archana. Is it necessary to complete the entire theory components in the online session? Definitely. If the theory session has not been completed, then it will not be possible for us to go for the offline process and for the labs experiments or hand-to-hand experiments. So it is very much necessary to please complete your theory session in your online mode.
Theory session, research journals, debating those research journals, initial debate as to, how do they relate to the topic, what kind of learnings they prescribe, what are the core values and the core learnings coming out of those. Theoretical part must be completed. And if you complete the theoretical part in those 6 sessions, Monday to Saturday, in the phase 1, I think you would be at ease and absolutely clear as to what very easily and very conveniently you can do that in session 2. There is a question, is it required that both coordinator and co-coordinator belong to the same area of research? Not necessary. You can belong to different areas of research because we are promoting multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary research. Again, should coordinator and co-coordinator be same? No, they can't be same. They have to be 2 different people. And again, coordinator and co-coordinator can be from the same institute, can be from same institute or different college, different university. You can collaborate as long as you both have a consent. We don't have a problem. Another question was that coordinator had asked that, can I also take sessions and classes? Yes, coordinators are most welcome to take sessions. However, their remuneration would be restricted to 10,000 only for one FDP, and no extra payment will be made towards conduct of sessions. Polytechnic institutions, I'm sorry, as of now, they are not allowed, but yes, they in collaboration with nearby engineering colleges, universities, they can apply. We are trying to figure out a separate good scheme for polytechnic institutions.
There is one question from Mr. Maheshwaran. Is it necessary to upload the presentation file now itself? No, it's not essential. Just file submitting your application in this registration process. So the presentation file from the resource person can be uploaded afterwards. Once you have your FDP has been selected.
Question from Dr. Arun Kumar. I belong to physics background and working in science and humanities. Would like to write a proposal for ATAL FDP on advanced energy material. So one is that if Professor Kumar, you have your expertise on advanced energy material, please do so. If you don't have it, please collaborate with someone who has expertise, and in collaboration, you can apply for ATAL FDP. But please ensure that the department that is applying, either your department or the department that is applying, should have NBA or NIRF or NAC as written. It must be there.
And there is one question from Madam Usha. When we will know whether our submitted proposal is selected or not, will there be any selection procedure? Yes, you will be informed in time, and the selection procedure, we have an expert team. We will analyze all the proposals from your side, and their decision will be the final one. There is one more question. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please.
That shall we use professors from foreign universities? Please feel free. Last year, ATAL FDPs had more than 6,500 resource personnel from outside. So if you get people from anywhere, as long as they are relevant to the FDP, as long as they are people of repute, distinguished professors from academia or industry or anywhere, please feel free to invite. There is no bar. You can invite a resource person from anywhere. Now, is it mandatory to submit tentative attendees as supporting document during attendees? I have not understood, but yes, you need to submit a tentative list of resource person, so that at least, we also know who are the people who would be teaching our faculty members, and their credentials are of utmost importance. Let me tell you, these FDPs and the success of these FDPs is dependent only on 2 components. One is the coordinator, co-coordinator, their dedication, their commitment, because these are very rigorous, very hands-on FDPs. But I assure you that coordinators and co-coordinators, you would be learning so much more than your actually faculty members who are attending this program. And other is the expertise, the commitment, the passion, the engagement of resource people. So kindly make sure that you select your resource people very, very carefully. We will also try to compile and circulate a list of people who are experts in various areas. So it is not mandatory that you have to only call them, but suppose there is an institution which is not able to figure out as to who are the experts in metallurgy, or who are the experts in IoT, or who are the experts in, say, thermodynamics. So we would try that, we make a list of resource persons and circulate to you for your own convenience. Thank you.
And there is one more question, T. Thenamoji. Dear ma'am, we are 27 years of runs Art and Science College, and we are eligible for FDP. Yes, you are eligible for FDP. Condition is that you fulfill the eligibility criteria which for the host institutes which we have inculcated in the annexure 1. So please go through the annexure 1. If you are eligible, you can apply for that FDP.
Any other prominent question? And I don't think, ma'am, we are NAC grade B. Can we apply? I suggest that you apply in collaboration with a university or a college or industry. In case of industry, we would not be checking about NAC accreditation, but university should be an established university, industry in the relevant field. And then in case you tie up or you collaborate with a college or a university, then we would be looking for NIRF, NBA or NAC. All three are not mandatory. Any one of the three is mandatory.
There is one more question from Mme. Sharmila. She's asking, we are from PSG college and collaborated with industry as a coordinator meet the requirement. Shall I apply? No, this time polytechnic colleges are not eligible. Correct, but the your faculty members can be attend the FDP as a participant.
Again, what is the maximum number of proposal per department? You can apply as many proposals as you want. But then, subsequently, while granting, we will make sure that, not more than 5 proposals are granted to one specific department or institute. Should the MOU be applied at the time of applying? We'll prefer that, if you can send a scan copy of MOU along with it or a consent letter, it will be appreciated. However, industrial visit or MOU from the industry, you may even do it later also. Why extension of date? I think you still have time. People are asking about extension of date. How to decide on general articles and teams before? No, teams you don't have to decide before FDP. On the first session or the second session, you have to constitute the teams. Suppose you are going for EV, electric vehicle, then obviously you need to have generals that are articles that are specifically on usage of electric vehicles, maybe their impact on sustainability and climate change, maybe the cost of electric vehicles and the challenges in production. So anything which is related to your FDP. And since you all are teachers, faculty members, very distinguished faculty members, that in your specific domain, in your specific area, what are the reputed journals. So once you know the reputed journals, please select couple of articles. In the basic one, 2 articles, in the advanced and leadership one, 3 to 4 articles, which is related to your FDP.
There is one more question from Teja Lakshmi. Can we have resource person to present online mode during offline mode? No, ma'am. Please request your resource person to be physically present in your institution, and online mode is only for the first week. So you are kindly requested that please please request your resource person to be present in the institution in the offline mode session, that is in the second week.
Yeah.
It will be more beneficial for the participants as well as for your institution also.
I would just add on what Director Dr. Dinesh Singh has said, that, in case you still feel that you have a foreign resource person and is not able to come, and in the second week, you have to have a physical instructor. But should this expert, should this resource person wants to enrich, add on something to the content, then during the period or maybe a day prior to it, in the evening, he can take a session for an hour just to, explain and ensure that participants understand as to how do they need to carry out those lab experiments and those practicals. So it can be in addition to your physical presence. In addition to the physical presence, most welcome. But if you feel that we replace the person who will carry out these practicals, no, then it is not possible. Now, may the article be of the coordinator itself? No, not at all. Not at all. We are not recommending. It's that, if coordinator has written an article which has a very, very high impact factor, and it has been cited too many number of times, please feel free. But by and large, it should be articles that are in reputed journal and related to the FDP which you are conducting. Now, now this kilometer thing, how many minimum kilometer? See, this kilometer thing, I just want to explain to you, is not hard and fast. Why it has come into practice is that we were not interested that host institution should be burdened to make arrangement of stay, food, boarding, lodging of these participants. So we have kept 100 kilometers. If you get candidates from 150 kilometers who can come every day in the morning and can leave in the evening, feel free. So, the only thing is that attendance of the participants is mandatory. Other than that, they are coming from 30 kilometers or 50 kilometers or 80 kilometers or 120 kilometers is not really hard and fast from us. They should attend, and preferably they should be able to come in the morning and evening. Now you have a coordinator. You have a participant who stays 300 kilometers, but he says, I will make my own arrangement. My sister stays here, my friend stays here, and I will come every day in the morning and go in the evening. Please allow me to attend the FDP. By all means, please allow the participant faculty member to attend the FDP.
And Dr. S. Nageshwari has asked regarding the ATAL ID. ATAL ID, when you are applying for, when you apply for any course, then ATAL ID is generated. If you don't have any AICTE ID, application ID, then we have generated this. We generate this ATAL ID when you submit your application. So this is generated by the ATAL team.
One last question there. Someone has asked, what is teaching practice? Teaching practice is that once faculty members have been trained in a specific domain area, then they have been taught the pedagogy. Then they have also been taught the assessment pattern of that specific domain or core area. So now you also need to see as to have they really learned it? Will they be able to apply in their own teaching? So teaching practice is a demo teaching by the participants. Now, a question may come, though no one has asked that question, I would like to reply on my own, that the hours that have been dedicated to teaching practice, that is demo teaching by the participants, they are comparatively lesser in number. But as a coordinator, as a very experienced teacher, you understand who is good in the subject, who is good in the communication, who is good in using some of the tools, who knows very good knowledge, who has very good knowledge of pedagogy. So maybe within 4 or 5 minutes, you may understand that the candidate is very good, and you may ask the candidate to stop after a couple of minutes. However, if a participant, faculty member needs assistance in pedagogy or in communication skills or in designing the evaluation of that specific core area, feel free that you conduct his teaching practice or her teaching practice for a little longer time. We seek your cooperation. I am again and again saying these are very good, very well framed FDPs, but their success is dependent on resource people, and number one, the hero of the whole show is coordinator and the co-coordinator. So please be our heroes, please be our heroines, and do these FDPs in such a manner that you remain the star of our FDPs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone, for joining this webinar. And thank you all the ROs and EROs for making this webinar a successful event. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ROs. Thank you, Team Atal. And thank you, everyone, for making this such a huge success. Thank you, our ROs. I'm really, really very grateful to you and indebted to you. Thank you so much. Please speak something.
Thank you, madam. Oh God.
Looking forward to your heartfelt contribution and applying all the people in Atal FDPs. Thank you so much. Have a very good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.